Check it out. Fuck all that pretty shit. Taking it back to the gutter for you motherfuckers. There's no dog there.
Out of this world like Mars when I spit these bars. Come fuck with these stars up in luxury cars. We built in radars to stay free from the cops. Crucial choices to make like AC at a drop. And we gon' stop shit, man. Never my squad go broke. This squad artichoke. Watch a circle vanish like the cigar smoke. Ain't no joke when your ones don't show. Nigga, I know. Might say been there, done that like Dre. Through hard work, I earned the vault. Promise God to never look back or I turn to salt. Got nice watches, nice cars, nice bitches and rings. Guess it's safe to say a nigga like me got nice things. Can't relate to motherfuckers who ain't got no cake. When you all fucked up and can't get no break. When your fake ass friends don't help you out when you need it. Be on some real bullshit, politely tell you to be. Fuck that, get your own nigga, don't ask me for shit. That's what I did. Now they all asking for hits. You nigga, it's on. For the simple fact, I let it be known. We still fly, but separately, cause now I chart on my own. Come on, propellers, good fellas. Leave all them player haters jealous. Billboard charts should tell us they can't touch us. Why niggas bring the ruckus? Because release date's bigger than Mandela's. Motherfuckers.
Every day they gotta fight, stay alive, just reality.
Check. These here's the dog years, these motherfuckers don't share. I try to bring the life, but motherfuckers won't dare. So we travel with the barrel, with the chrome, with the lead. When it's on, then it's on, the shots blown through your head. I've been rich, I've been poor, I've saved and blown bread. Say I've been here before because of the way I song. Some said, chicken songs like the fall in the Rome, reoccurring. That he thinks like that cause he's observant. Won't be known till I'm gone and they can study my bones. Mentally been many places, but I'm Brooklyn's own. In the physical, unseen like the law's body. In fact, my thoughts from diplomat from that and God body. But it's the hard shotty that got cats likening me to the mob John Gotti. Rap dudes biting me cause I got it locked like the late Bob Marley. Pardon me, y'all, the great Bob Marley. Solemnly we mourn all the rappers that born. Niggas that got killed in the field and all the babies born. No, they ain't fully prepared for this new world order. So I keep it ghetto like sunflower seeds in quarter waters. Walking through it, you know, talk them through it. Know these beats is more than music whenever I talk to it. Destined for greatness and y'all knew this when I doubled the pie. Had the shorty and the girdle coming out of BWI. I hated algebra, but I love the multiply. And I told my nigga Big I'll be multi before I die. It's gonna happen, whether rapping or clapping, have it your way. If that's my dough you're trapping, I'm clapping your way.
In these ghetto streets. Every day they gotta fight, stay alive. It's reality.
Damn, it feel good to
These people up on it. What's up, Kinks? Kinks and tea cakes.
Supreme schemes to get richer, the rich quickly. Niggas wanna hit me if they get me. Dress my body in linen by Armani. Check it. My lyrical carjack, make your brains black. High caliber gas is all I fuck with.
This P. Diddy, man. This P. Diddy, B-Dub.
Bulletproof vests under their coochie, spitting my Uzi. Don't lose me, my trigger niggas represent. Driving dirty in J30s, getting bent. Into my hit holes, my murder mommies. I be smoking trees and Belize when they find me. While you still killing niggas with Panani. Like Connie and Cyrus up the Cypress. Fuck the wall, you're on the floor with the virus. While I just spray coke, smoke pounds and choke. Got lawyers watching lawyers.
So I don't go broke.
Now check it.
Call me Frank White.
I'm splitting off in my mouth, of course, I know my shit's tight. Sunrise, open my eyes, no surprise. Got my shorty flying in with keys taped to her thighs. With all the utensils to hang my China things. She half black, half Oriental. 86, she got me rental. The situation ain't accidental. What? All of them dreams, bang on.
What's up, y'all? What's up? What's up? How you doing? This is your boy D, man. As you know, obviously you know that, man, because you're looking at the screen right now with this crazy looking dude and a saying and the voice is coming out from there and all that stuff, man. So, first, man, I want to say thanks, man, for popping up in the building. I really appreciate it, man. This is part of my Pomodoro, so I got a little, I got a little time where I figured I was like, let me come on and let's talk about a couple things, man. Um, yeah, Madhead, as bad as I want to beef with people, man, there's only one fuck nigga that I beef with, and we both did, beef with that dude, man. You know what I'm saying? I got a consistent beef with him. He's one of he's my stalker. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the bum. The bum is that's one motherfucker, man. I consider the ultimate fuck niggas, man. Hey, what's up, Employment Secret? So that's the one and only that I know right now. Now I got people where I could just what's going on, Monique? That there's people that I could say I could throw a lot of stuff at, but I won't. And the reason why is because to do so would be to sow more seeds of discord, and all I'm trying to do is just build. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what's going on? So, greetings, loves. So, the reason for today is man, is to talk about, have you ever had shade thrown at you? Somebody done something shady that you just felt like, oh, I know this motherfucker just didn't do this to me, man. And when you found out, how did you handle it? How did that make you feel? I know that I've had it done to me several times, and I felt betrayed. Um, and there's nothing like that's one of the worst feelings that you have is betrayal. You have anger, you have sadness, you have confusion, but to me, the worst feeling of it all is betrayal. Oh, you like your picture? That picture's nasty. That's my dude. Yeah, that's my boy. His name is Roscoe. That's one of my characters I played at the coffee shop. So, but I'd like to talk about how do you handle it? How do you handle it when it's thrown at you in your direction? What do you do? How do you handle betrayal? And I know that we have not only do we have ourselves at the to ask and to talk about that, discuss this, and I'll be more than happy. Let me put a link out there, so if anyone wants to come on and wants to talk about how they shade being thrown that way, or discord being sown, how they handle it. I know that I'm going to talk about how I handle it in just a second. Um, and let's do some research online to see. All right, on. Thanks, so for coming up. So she's gonna come up for a second, come up in the build. We talk about how she's handled it. Madhead, I would love to beef with people, man. I used to beef with people, man. I used to be an asshole, man. But then I found Buddha. you know, I found the Dhamma, and that's when I started to try to find my way to happiness, man. So I know people have thrown, really betrayal, man. That's more than anything is betrayal. So just wait on Soul to get up in the building. Yeah, it's a big question. Yeah, man, it's a huge question to answer. So just hang on a second, man. While we're waiting on her to show up, yeah, we were in our booty. Yes, we are. That's a good way of looking at things. Huh. And think about that, Monique. So, forgiveness, yes. So is that how you handle betrayal? It's through forgiveness. But what is forgiveness? Is forgiveness too? You forgive and forget? And then we back to that. We're back to that conversation where we're talking about the scorpion and the fox. So the first step of have shade being thrown your way is forgiveness for their wrongdoing. Now, do you approach them? Do you come to this person and you say, hey, you know, this you did this to me. This was some shady shit, and I really didn't appreciate what you did. And there you go. What's going on? So that's a beautiful picture. I meant to tell you that.
Thank you. Thank you. Although I'm looking a little perturbed, if you will. It's done purposefully for the picture so I can use it, for
Yeah.
memes and stuff. How are you doing today?
I am fantastic. You know
Oh,
what I'm
that's
saying?
great. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. How's everyone in the chat? Hope you guys are doing well. Greetings to everyone. Um, I noticed your title was Shade and Discord. So which one do you want to start with? I think you were talking about shade first.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And see, these are conversations that could be had over a long length of time and maybe even a series, because I feel like there's no one answer to this, and there's there's no quick solution to this at all. It's
Right.
kind of like asking, how do you deal with marital issues? You know what I'm saying? How do you deal with friendship problems? Then you have to break it down to specifics, situational type of thing. So, but I can give you an example. Okay. I feel like I was shaded last night on a panel, right? And how I handled it in that moment, I tried to ignore it. I did, and not really address it. And then I tried to kind of say, without directly saying, that I don't necessarily want to address this at this time. And when the shade was still thrown, I just addressed it without being, how do you say, confrontational, by saying as little as possible, but addressing the issue for now. So you see how the details matter, because every situation isn't going to call for the same action. So it's gonna vary depending upon who the people are, where you are, what the situations are, and what it would mean to you if you handle it this way or that way or this way, and what it would mean for the other person, and whatever it is that you guys are trying to achieve or do. So I feel like it's kind of like, like I said, something that you should probably discuss over a long period of time. And it could be like even a course, if you will.
Okay.
But say you and I were to come up here and say, oh, we should handle shade like this, just ignore them.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that that's what, we're going to come up with, right? But let's just pretend.
Solution.
Right. Let's just pretend that that's what we are saying. Like, we discussed this and we're saying you should ignore shade because it only turns into more problems and we don't want to deal with that. Okay, now, how about everybody leave here with the mindset that we're going to ignore shade? Now, there's going to be some situations that it's not a good idea to ignore shade. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that there could be a different answer, of varying answers for varying situations. But give me some examples, if you will, of some things that, in particular you would like to try and,
Well, first let's look at, I like to, kind of have a define things first.
Oh, so, great.
Everyone may look at something a little differently. So I'm, since I think shade is pretty much shade is a slang word, we probably should look to the Urban Dictionary to see what type of definitions that they use that we can find there. Is that, you good with that?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So shade Urban Dictionary. So that's me. Somebody was fucked up, drunk. So let's say shady behavior. Let's say shady. To be sneaky, suspect, to have an all-around backstabbing personality. I think that'd be right. To act fake or to be a hypocrite. Shiftly, sly, suspicious, dark, low profile.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I would say, if anything, to be very sneaky, suspect, or to have an all-around backstabbing personality.
Okay.
So we look at it as, say, that the noun of shade would be backstabbing. So a backstab. So how do you handle basically a backstab? I know we're not going to come up with an answer right now. Definitely not, because that's a, people backstab in so many different ways, and particularly now with social media, we know that people backstab publicly, and it has some serious ramifications
Mm-hmm.
to your person, personally, because a lot of times you can't defend yourself. Because
Right.
people, I like to say people dogpile. You start to see, like I've seen, been in some chat rooms, and I've seen, I guess, been some shade thrown at a person's way, and then it's kind of like a cult of personality where, everyone just starts to kind of jump on the bandwagon and
Mm-hmm.
throwing all this backstabbing, and, well, I remember that time when she did this, or I remember that time when he did that, and it compounds itself.
Yeah.
So if you're someone that's like an outsider, how would you, kind of, what are some tools that you think that you would use to address it?
Okay. So you're saying if you're the person that's in the midst of it,
Yeah.
but they're not talking about you,
Hmm.
and you're just there to network, if you will.
Yeah, because it kind of goes in hand in hand with Discord
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
way. So that's why I said, how do you handle shade in Discord? So,
Well, in the particular situation that you're talking about, I'm familiar with what you're saying because I've seen it a lot myself in various places on social media, and mainly YouTube, because YouTube is one of the type of places where we can have this kind of environment more so. Um, it's kind of like YouTube is so difficult, social media period, but definitely YouTube, because it's kind of like um, things are being played out here, almost like an episode or a series or um, a show, that you watch on
mhm.
TV. And you have no way of really knowing all of where all of this stuff is coming from, um, and what people are dealing with. Like you said, there's varying circumstances behind the people, their mental state, their emotional state, their own particular motives. Um, so it is kind of hard when you come into a situation like that and it's happening, and you may want to not necessarily get involved with that or stay neutral
Mhm.
because you're not there for that. And for me, maybe sometimes just not being there at that time is a good option, because maybe they're dealing with something in that moment and you don't want to be a part of it, right? Because you don't necessarily know what to say, because something you say, somebody watching may take it as if you're joining in on the shade. Like if you see everybody's doing it, then that's kind of what's in the air. That's the atmosphere, and people are going to feel like if you're there and you're participating, then you're doing it too.
And
Are you going to
you're
join?
complicit in it.
Yeah, or you're condoning it,
Yeah.
especially when you're continuously um, visiting and it's continuously happening and people see it. Then they feel like you condone it, you approve of it, and you think that whomever they're doing it to, they deserve it. And so you do give that stance and that consent, whether you literally are saying it or not. So for me, it's like eventually you'll have to decide, like I will have to decide, is this where I need to be? because
Mhm.
this is what happens here. You know, this is what goes on a regular basis. Now, if it's a one-time thing and it seems like things get solved, then and that's the overall intention of people, because everything isn't meant to be solved publicly. It's not meant to be solved like, come up here and let's do all this and put all this out. I mean, I know that that's a habit, but that's not necessarily, because the way you may feel like we need to solve it, the way other people may feel like, so it's almost like you can't satisfy everyone. But if it's something that is constantly going on, and you know that when you come over here, this is what's going to happen. If you don't want to get caught up in that, then you have to make a decision. You know, we don't have these attachments like that. Like,
Mhm.
it's not your baby, you know, it's not your spouse. So it shouldn't be that hard to make a choice for yourself as to whether or not an environment is going to be conducive to your progress or it's going to be a hindrance.
Okay. Okay. I understand. I see that King said I think people like the drama.
Yes, a lot of people do. A
So
lot of people do.
you think that's kind of a natural thing, just as part of the human
Oh,
condition?
I don't think it's a natural thing, but I do think that people have been conditioned because we started out with these TV shows and people were given a lot of money to engage into this type of confrontational drama type behavior.
The real
And they
world.
became celebrities. Yes, all of these little fake, but what we thought was real, I guess some people did reality shows, and they became well known because we got to watch them on TV, you know. But the producers, you know, wanted them to have issues going on and to either confront each other or solve them or whatever, but kind of imitate real life, but just on a magnified scale. And also when they're close knit like that, like sometimes we are even here on YouTube, because a lot of us don't spread ourselves around enough and have well balanced lives, period. You tend to eventually bump heads, you know, like siblings fight. So
Mhm.
I think all of that stuff being promoted by, you know, media and, you know, stuff like that is what influenced our people to start doing it, because they know that's a quick way to get attention.
Mhm.
You know, that's a quick way to get your view count up. That's a quick way to get your name out there.
Yeah.
And some people hold that motto that, you know, all gossip is, you know, good gossip.
Mhm.
Like any attention is good attention as long as they're talking about you.
Do you think, as a community, we should try to, when we see that, there should be like an effort to shun? It's a good old fashioned shunning. The people if you know for a fact this person is throwing it, because
Yeah.
we know somebody's doing some backstabbery, some backstabbery behavior that our silence may speak volumes.
Yeah, well,
Do
you
you
have
think
to
that it has?
I don't think you read the definition for the backstabbing, so we can like be
Okay,
clear on what it is you're talking about.
sure. To harm a friend or partner by treachery,
Okay.
disparage or criticize someone, usually when that person's absent.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I
Yeah.
grabbed that from Shave, because I saw, Shave had the backstabbing. I was like, okay, that's probably the closest definition that we could associate it with.
I'm glad that you read that definition, because the second one, to talk about, what was it? To talk about or ridicule someone when they're not present.
You have to disparage or criticize someone, usually when that person is not present.
Ah, that's a
It's
big
absent.
one for you too. I mean,
Hmm.
because it happens a lot. You know, people put your name in a title and get them talk about you. They don't wait until you show up
Yeah.
and get on the panel and talk with them. And sometimes they're addressing something you said or issue or whatever. And I think that has become the norm, because it's like a kind of way of communication. It's kind of like you're calling that person, right? Maybe,
Hmm.
but you're not able to directly engage in conversation. But at the same time, you're calling everybody else too. Everybody in the world can also hear this phone conversation. So I think that was a big mistake when that was not only introduced, but it was taken up by everyone. You know, so I like the fact that that is a definition of backstab, because I think that's what it is. And although we do it, unless it's to promote and uplift, you know, because you could talk about somebody and say, oh, this person got a lot going on, you should check them out. Da da
Mhm.
da. That's not backstabbing.
No, it's
That's
like disparaging.
right. So I just think that, you know, that's something that should be looked down upon, but people get excited about it. You know,
Mhm.
it's like pre-ring talk or something. Oh, they responded, you know, they responded, but it would be nice if it was cut out, but I know people aren't gonna agree to it because it's kind of like the thing that it's like it gets people hyped and
Yeah.
people know it, you know, but I do look at it as improper etiquette, even though I know people are gonna say, oh, you're talking about things that you also do. Yeah, we all know we do these
Yeah.
things.
We're
We
human
respond
beings.
to
You're
people.
human.
Right, right. And so, but when you get up and you intentionally um, come at someone with malice and you want to defame them and their character and their personality and spread things about them that, you know, is not a good thing to be putting out about them and stuff like that. To answer your question, do we think that we should shun these type of people? In my opinion, yes. We should look down on them. We should not give them energy. We should not, even though there's a part of some of us who feed off that and come to hear the dirty secrets and, you know, hear the down. You have to ask yourself, what is it about me that I want to hear these things about somebody else, regardless of my perception of this person? Because again, it's always your perception.
Right.
I heard someone on a panel say the other night, they investigated something very well to as far as it could be investigated. And being that I'm a part of the situation, I know that that's not possible. Okay.
Mhm.
And so this is the mindset of some people, even if they're saying it to convince others that they know every fact, so believe what I'm saying, or even if that's what they really feel themselves. How can you possibly know every detail
Yeah.
enough of a situation between other people to make as hardcore of a judgment as you are doing? Because there's different reasons why people present or don't present different things, and you don't know everything that, you know, took place in that situation. So sometimes we condone things being doing against someone because, oh, I don't like him. I don't like the way he say hello. I don't like the way he in his videos. And I don't like the way he came up in that chat the other day and said something to so and so that was so, it looked like he was being messy, but you don't
Mhm.
know you don't know what that was about,
Right.
you know. And we take these things and we pile them up, we stack them up, and then we say, yeah, go get them, you know, this is cool. But it should never be cool, you
Mhm.
know. It should never be cool, because again, what is it about you that you're wanting to soak this up, you're wanting to participate in this, you know? As a society, as a people, that's not the kind of stuff that we should be wanting to see and feel and hear about each other and do to each other. So
Right. My question is, and something that always kind of, I don't understand how people are able to invest so much negative energy
oh
into
man,
into things. You know what I'm saying? It's just like
yeah.
it's. I know it's easy. It's easy because it's just the primal energy, but it's how, how is it's able to, because it wears you out.
When you say it's easy, and then okay, you said it wears you out.
If
See,
somebody's like, or so somebody says something mean to you or something
uh-huh,
mean about you, then you're like, oh, I'm gonna give this person back, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm
right.
gonna go this, and I'm gonna do this, this, and this, because you're acting out of that, you're acting out of response of anger. You're not really thinking about
Emotions.
it.
Now, when you
Yeah,
say it's easy, do you mean that it's easy to do, but you should restrain yourself, or are you saying it's easy for that person?
I think it's easy to do, but you should restrain yourself.
That's
I think
interesting.
you should never just make an action just just to make it, because that's what separates
Right.
us from being an animal. An
I think
animal is
that I find that very interesting. And you're saying animal, like it's an animalistic type instinct.
Yeah, yeah. Animals
Okay.
just just kind of running. If you run up on a lion and you go boom, it could do one or two things.
Yeah.
It can bite you or it can run away.
Oh yeah, because they don't have all the extra thoughts and emotions and circumstances and programming that we have. They know to survive, eat, you know, fight
Mhm.
for So like you said, they're gonna either fight you or they're gonna run, and there's no in between. They're not gonna sit there and, think about it. The only thing they would do is like strategize their attack or something. But other
Yeah.
than that, and we're not animals. We would be considered mammals to some people, but we're not animals. We're humans. We got all kind of other stuff going on that we can utilize. And
Hmm.
so when you say it's easy, I found that interesting because you also said that it is draining and stressful.
Hmm.
So when you know that it's draining and stressful, why would you want to do that to yourself? That shouldn't be your first thought and your first instinct. And I know that there's a difference between males and females. I was listening to, who was it? I think it was Angry Man last night. And some of his subjects he was talking about was, the difference in guys. They need boys in school, and being able to sit still like females is just not plausible, and having to get that energy out. And guys just have this adrenaline, and that we don't have as females. And females do have more of a nurturing and calm demeanor. So I know instinctually it is a little easier to get a guy riled up. However, depending upon who you are, what levels you are in this space and time, how you were raised, what you have been through, what type of disciplines you've been taught, and what type of disciplines you put upon yourself, where your mindset is at, where you are health wise. Because if you're unhealthy, that can affect how you
Yeah.
feel, how you react.
Hmm.
All of these things are going to make differences in whether or not it's an instinct of yours. And for me, it's not an instinct to react. And sometimes, like, react in anger or anything like that. And sometimes people will see that, know that, and they, oh no, I got to get you there. You got to, we got to do this. So they'll keep pushing and pushing. And I feel like at some point, depending upon how far they go, it does become a bit of a struggle to not respond in the same way that they are. But you have your principles, you have your morals, you have your values, and you know who you are, you know what your position is, and you know the effects of what you two are about to do, right? You know the effects of what it is that you could do in response to that. And so it's like that's a little battle there, but you still have to, you still want to restrain yourself. Like, you don't want to get into that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yep.
So I
Cool.
don't know why my
There you
camera
go.
popped on, but yeah, you don't wanna it'd be all close all up on my face and everything. Yeah, you don't want to get into that. So when I feel like people, that's their first instinct, like, you always had somebody in the classroom
Hmm.
quick to get angry, you know, quick to get angry. I work with children like that, and I had, um, I have boys,
Yeah.
I have boys. So I've seen it, you could say something to them and it's, you know, just like
Yeah.
this,
Hmm.
big difference from where a girl, she may deal with it in different ways, and it may take a little more to get her there. But again, I
Yep.
think there's varying things about the person. But for some people, it is an instinct because it's becoming the norm. Like, we're teaching each
Exactly.
other, this is what you're supposed to do. This is what you're supposed to do. React
Mhm.
like this, hit them back, come for them the same way they came for you, but go harder, you know?
Yeah. It's in a world, in a game of eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. You have blind people and nobody has teeth.
Yeah, but at what cost though? At what cost?
There you go. Yeah,
Because
everybody's blind with no teeth.
yeah, exactly. At what cost, And I don't want to, because I could use a lot of my situations,
Hmm.
personally on here, my experiences, in which that is where I speak from too, because that's, of course, where you're going to speak from, what you've been through, and
I don't
what you've
know.
seen, what you learned, what you read. And it's like, there's plenty of times where I've seen and heard things to where I'm like, I really should.
So
Um,
hold on, wait a minute. Chantel, isn't your timing people out?
huh?
Chantel would time somebody out?
Oh, I'm not in the chat.
No, yeah, I'm looking in the chat and they said employment seeker stuff is disappearing. And I'm like, what's going on? And they said Chantel timed her out. And see that's that seeds of discord, Chantel. You're bringing in seeds of discord. and we're trying to solve a problem.
I didn't see. I don't see her here.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm not looking at it from YouTube. I'm looking at it from where we are, so I'm not gonna be able to see that.
Yeah. Huh. Well, it looks like we're gonna have to have a. I'm gonna have to do this later on today.
Well, you know, since we're doing this, can I,
Mhm.
as
Sure.
a little bit seasoned,
Yeah, go
make a
for it, man. Yeah.
suggestion? And we can talk about this off if you want to. I mean, yeah, let's do it
Let's talk about
because it's
offline.
just little advice.
Let's
It's
talk
just
about
advice,
offline.
and you don't have to. You don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to take it if you don't want to. But
I'm sure I probably will take it.
yeah, and
So
it's not about nobody. Don't worry about that. I don't do
yeah.
that. It's just platform advice. That's all.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. I know
Yeah.
I actually have to do. I'm about to get on an SEO podcast in 5 minutes, so that's why I wanted to jump on
Oh,
in my
okay.
in my
Yeah. I was
Pomodoro.
that's what I was doing, about to get started on my blogs and podcasts and stuff that I'm gonna put out for today. Today is what, Tuesday? So yeah,
Mhm.
I'm gonna be putting those out, and I saw you were having this discussion.
Yeah.
So
Thank
I
you.
decided but if you're gonna continue it, then yes, because I do, if you would consider it, I
Mhm.
do think that it could be a series. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's not something that you could just solve like with one situation or one answer, one thought, one mindset. It's so many different variations to go along with this. So I think different discussions, different people's opinions or whatever and experiences can add to it. And people can just if people could kind of like have these discussions and maybe not listen to it with venom, if you will,
Hmm.
for whomever is talking about it, whatever, and just try to see what you can learn from it, you know
Hmm.
then being open-minded, that's all.
Okay.
It can
All right.
help. I mean, that's just a suggestion to the audience, in general, because I find when I'm open-minded, then I tend to learn a lot more. I
Hmm.
may come in and say, I don't really like what she's saying right now, but I'm gonna listen, and I just keep my mind clear and process what everybody is saying, and then I'm more inclined to be able to learn something from what they said. But if I come in and I hear and I'd be like, oh yeah, I can't stand that person right there, ain't trying to hear none of that, I cut myself off, and trust me, I listen to a lot of people that I don't disagree with on any other level, and I learn a lot from these people. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for popping in the bill, and I really, really, really super appreciate it.
No problem. And I can't wait to interview you, because I definitely want to learn about this character thing you got going on now. See, I'm real curious now.
All right. All
Yeah.
right. Well, thank y'all so much for popping on in. I appreciate it. And we'll get this popping later on today, man.
All right, cool. Y'all
All
have
right.
a good day.
All right. Take it easy. Bye. Let's go to some outro music real quick. I like to always have some music for the way out. So we had the Young G's. And here you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Benjamin's baby.
Yeah.
Benjamin's baby.
Now, what y'all wanna do? Wanna be ballers, shot callers, brawlers, who be dipping in the bins with the spoilers, on the low from the Jake and the Taurus, trying to get my hands on some grants like Horace. Yeah, living the raw deal. 3-course meal, spaghetti, fettuccine, and veal, but still, everything's real in the field. And what you can't have now, leave when you will. But don't knock me for trying to bury 7 zeros over in Rio de Janeiro. Ain't nobody's hero, but I wanna be heard on your hot 9-7 every day. That's my word. Swimming in women with their own condominiums, 5+5s. You drive millenniums. It's all about Benjamin's what? I get a 50-pound bag of oof for the months. 5 carrots on my hands with the cuts. And something European crawled out with the clutch.
Drinking more liquor, driving a bro bigger. I'm with more sippers, watched by gold diggers. Rocking Bajor denims with gold zippers. Lost your touch, we kept ours. Popping crystals, freaking in 3/4 reptiles. Enormous cream, forest green. Benz G for my team, so while you sleep, I'm a scheme. You see through, why nobody never gonna believe you.